AITA for refusing to let my sister's fiancé move into our childhood home after he insulted me. I'm 29F, and this has been brewing for a while now. My family has always been close, but over the past year or so, things have really started to fall apart, and it all centers around my sister, her fiancé, and the house we grew up in. A little background. Our parents passed away about 5 years ago, and they left the family home to me and my sister, 26F, as equal owners. The house is in a decent neighborhood and has sentimental value to both of us. We agreed to keep it in the family for as long as possible and decided that whichever one of us wasn't living there could rent it out to cover the mortgage and upkeep costs. I moved in shortly after they passed, while my sister was traveling and trying to figure out her next steps career-wise. Fast forward to last year, my sister met a guy, Josh, who she immediately started dating. Things moved fast, and a few months ago they got engaged. Josh seemed nice enough when I first met him, but I noticed some things that rubbed me the wrong way, mostly little comments that felt dismissive of me and my life choices. I chalked it up to first impressions, but as time went on, it became more evident that he didn't exactly respect me. About 2 months ago, my sister announced they wanted to move into our childhood home together once they got married. I was shocked. I didn't expect this. I told her that since we co-own the house, we needed to discuss this arrangement carefully. I wasn't comfortable with strangers living in the house without my input, and honestly, I didn't feel like giving up my home to them. She said they wouldn't be just strangers, and that, as her fiancé, Josh had a right to be there. I said no, ownership matters. She then told me that they wanted to move in because Josh was having a hard time finding work and needed a place to stay temporarily while he got back on his feet. I was sympathetic but still hesitant. I suggested they look for a rental or stay with friends for a while. She got upset and said I was being selfish and not family-oriented. The breaking point came a couple of weeks ago. We had a family dinner where Josh was present. I tried to keep things cordial, but during the dinner, Josh made a sarcastic comment about my job. I work in nonprofit administration, and he said something like, "Must be nice to work a meaningful job that doesn't pay much. Guess that's why you're clinging to the old house instead of living your life." I was stunned. I didn't respond, but I felt deeply insulted. Later that night, I told my sister privately that Josh's comment was unacceptable and that I wasn't okay with them moving in. I said if they wanted to live in the house, they needed to prove they could contribute respectfully and financially. My sister blew up, accusing me of being hostile and controlling, saying I was trying to sabotage their relationship. Since then, they have pushed harder to move in. My sister even threatened to sell her share of the house to Josh to get him in. I told her that I wouldn't allow that because I didn't want the house to be co-owned with someone I didn't trust. Last weekend, Josh came over to discuss this face-to-face, but it quickly turned into him trying to intimidate me. He said I was being difficult and that I didn't deserve the house anyway, since I hadn't contributed to its upkeep after our parents died. That's not true. I've paid the mortgage and done most of the maintenance for the past 5 years. I feel trapped. I don't want to lose the house or have to live with someone who disrespects me. I'm trying to be reasonable, but I'm also exhausted by the constant pressure and insults. I love my sister, but I'm starting to feel like this relationship is toxic because of Josh. AITA for refusing to let my sister and her fiancé move into our childhood home, especially after he insulted me and has shown no respect. Should I just give in for the sake of family peace, or am I justified in standing my ground? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, when do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of the dress code. So, this whole situation has been building up over the last few months, and honestly, I'm still torn about whether I'm the asshole or not. I'll try to explain everything as clearly as possible. A bit of background. I, 28F, have a younger sister, 25F, who recently got engaged to her fiancé, 27M. They've been together for a few years now, and I always thought we had a pretty decent relationship. Sure, we've had our ups and downs, but overall, I've supported her and been excited about her wedding. Or at least I thought I was. Here's where things started to get messy. When my sister and her fiancé announced their engagement, they were very vague about the wedding details. That's fine, I figured it was still early. But as the months went by, I got bits and pieces of information, like it would be a fairly small ceremony, and then they'd have a bigger reception later. About 2 months ago, they finally sent out the official invitations. The date was set for a Saturday in late fall, and the venue was a beautiful vineyard. Sounds lovely, right? Well, that's when I saw the dress code, black tie, and vintage theme. Now, I'm not super into fashion or anything, but I know black tie generally means formal wear. And the vintage theme, as it turns out, is quite specific. Think 1920s to 1940s style. The invites even included a little note suggesting guests wear attire that fits the era, with references to old Hollywood glamour and classic styles. At first, I was a bit overwhelmed. I don't own anything close to that style, and vintage clothing isn't exactly cheap or easy to find. I told my sister that I might need some time to figure out what to wear or maybe borrow something. She replied in a kind of dismissive tone, saying, "It's really important to us that everyone respects the theme. It's going to be a very special, curated event." I tried to be understanding, but also expressed that I wasn't sure if I could pull off a 1920s look. I'm pretty introverted and not super comfortable in elaborate outfits, so this felt daunting. Fast forward a few weeks, and I reached out again, asking if maybe I could get some advice or even borrow a dress or accessories. I also asked if I could get some clarification about the black tie element. Was a simple, formal dress acceptable, or did it absolutely have to be vintage? Her response was a bit icy. She basically said the theme was non-negotiable and that they'd hired a stylist to help guests who were really struggling with the look. She included a link to a website for vintage rental outfits, which were pricey, think hundreds of dollars. She also added that since it was a big day for them, they expected everyone to make an effort, even if it was inconvenient. At this point, I felt like the focus was more on the dress code than on having the people she cared about at the wedding. I'm all for putting effort into an event, but when it feels like a demand rather than an invitation, it starts to feel exclusionary. So, I started looking into renting something, but the prices were way beyond what I was comfortable spending. Plus, finding something that fit my size and style was proving difficult. I'm not a fan of shopping or spending a lot on clothes I'll only wear once. I talked to my boyfriend, 30M, who suggested I talk to my sister again and maybe explain that while I love her and want to celebrate, this dress code is a serious barrier for me. I wanted to be honest, but also not cause drama. When I told my sister that I probably wouldn't be able to attend because of the dress code, she blew up. She accused me of being selfish, of ruining their special day, and said it was about respect and making an effort for family. She even said she didn't want me there if I wasn't willing to follow the rules. I was stunned. I never imagined something like this would cause such a rift. I tried to explain that it wasn't about disrespect, but about practical and financial limitations, plus personal comfort. But she wasn't having it. My parents got involved, and they seem to think I'm overreacting and should just find a way to attend. My boyfriend supports me, saying that the wedding should be about the couple, but not at the expense of alienating family members. I'm honestly heartbroken because I wanted to be there for my sister, but I also don't want to be made to feel like I'm a bad person for not wanting to spend a fortune on an outfit I'm uncomfortable wearing. So, Reddit, AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of the strict and expensive vintage black tie dress code? Or is my sister being unreasonable? AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of how she treated my daughter? This has been weighing on me for months now, and I'm still unsure if I'm the asshole or if I'm justified. I'm going to try to explain everything clearly because the situation is complicated and involves family dynamics that have been brewing for years. So here's some background. I'm 34F, married to my husband 36M, and we have a 7-year-old daughter, Lily. My younger sister, Emily, is 30F. We've always had a bit of strained relationship, mostly because she's very competitive and can be passive-aggressive, but overall I thought we were okay. I always tried to keep things civil for the sake of family gatherings, and because I wanted my daughter to have a good relationship with her aunt. Emily got engaged about a year ago, and her wedding is scheduled for next month. When she announced the engagement, she made a big deal about the big family event and how she wanted everything to be perfect. That was fine. I was happy for her and started thinking about the kids and how Lily would have fun with cousins and stuff. The trouble began a few months ago during the wedding planning phase. Emily asked me if Lily could be a flower girl. I was surprised, but also a little touched because I thought it meant she valued Lily enough to include her in such an important role. I immediately agreed and started making plans. Lily was so excited and kept talking about wearing a pretty dress and walking down the aisle. Then about 6 weeks before the wedding, Emily called me, sounding a little stressed. She told me they had to change some plans, and she wasn't sure if the flower girls would still walk down the aisle because she was worried about logistics. I was a bit disappointed, but said I understood if she had to make adjustments. A week later, Emily sent me a message saying Lily could no longer be a flower girl because the wedding party is too big now and they needed to cut down on kids walking. She said it was nothing personal, but that she had to pick the nieces and nephews who were her and her fiancé's close family. And since Lily is my side, she just didn't fit in. I was crushed. I texted her back and asked if there was any way to reconsider because Lily had been looking forward to this for months. Emily basically said no, and then added that Lily could still come and be a guest. I didn't say anything else at the time, but I felt really hurt. I told my husband about it, and he said it was just a wedding, maybe Emily was stressed, and that we should just support her. Okay, so here's where it gets worse. Last weekend, Emily invited us over for a family brunch to finalize the seating chart and discuss final details. We went, and I brought Lily along. When we arrived, Emily seemed distant. She barely talked to Lily, who was trying to get her attention and show her some drawings she'd made for the wedding. Then Emily's fiancé's sister's kids showed up, and Emily immediately focused on them, giving them gifts and including them in conversations about the wedding. Lily sat quietly and tried to join in, but Emily ignored her most of the time. At one point, Lily accidentally spilled juice on one of the expensive decorations Emily had made for the brunch. Instead of brushing it off or comforting Lily, Emily snapped at her in front of everyone, saying, "Can you be more careful? This isn't your place." I was stunned. Lily started to cry, and I told Emily that maybe we should go. Emily said something like, "Fine, if you're going to make a scene over nothing, maybe Lily should just stay home from the wedding altogether." I pulled Lily away and left quickly, feeling humiliated and furious. After we left, I texted Emily to tell her that if she was going to treat my daughter like that, then I wouldn't be attending the wedding. I said I'm happy for her, but can't support an event where Lily isn't welcomed or respected. Emily exploded back, calling me dramatic, selfish, and saying I was ruining her wedding plans. Now my parents and other family members are caught in the middle. Some say I should just suck it up and attend the wedding for the sake of family harmony, while others say Emily was really mean to Lily and that I'm justified in standing up for her. I haven't talked to Emily since then, and the wedding is in less than 2 weeks. My husband thinks I'm being too harsh and that I should attend and try to make peace, but I feel like it's about my daughter's dignity and my own boundaries. So Reddit, am I the asshole for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of how she treated my daughter? Or is Emily the one who crossed a line and deserves to face consequences?